Welcome to Redditenderbender. We give Reddit stories their deserving endings because we hate being left hanging. For 10 years, my husband has starved me of love, affection, and even simple conversations. I made every excuse for him: stress, work, etc. I found out that he has been having an affair with his ex for the entire duration of our relationship. The ex doesn't want to be with him. I am her thrill as she sneaks behind her boyfriend's back and he sneaks behind my back to have sex together. According to him, I am only a spot holder until she comes back, and he used me for 10 years. He said he was never attracted to me, and I should get over the fact that I got played. He knows that the only reason she is involved in the affair is because of the thrill. My place in his life is to do my duties as a wife and mind my business. I plan on divorcing him, but because of my circumstances, it will take a long time, years. I know affairs are morally wrong, but I can't be loyal to a man who has never been loyal to me. I have other men that show me interest and would like to have an affair before I can file for divorce. Would it be wrong for me to have an affair? Not just morally. Let's start from where OP is contemplating having an affair after discovering her husband's affair with his ex. He came clean in a blunt and unapologetic way. He described secret rendezvous, passionate conversations, and whispered vows. But what really got to me was when he admitted with brutal honesty that he saw me as a placeholder while he still loved and missed her deeply. I was curious about why she got involved in the affair. So I had a chat with his ex. Our conversation painted a picture of a woman who was addicted to the thrill of the forbidden. She got satisfaction from sneaking around with both my husband and her unsuspecting boyfriend. She loved the excitement of her clandestine adventures. I realized that I was just a pawn in this complicated game of hidden desires and deception. After I found out about my husband's affair, I felt comforted by getting close to another man. We were both feeling desperate and wanted to feel the passion that had been missing from our lives. We started a secret affair, but I was conflicted. I felt bad about cheating, but I also wanted to get revenge on my husband for what he did. It felt like a poetic way to get back at him for being so heartless. The situation was exciting but also overwhelming. I was trying to change the story that he had created without thinking about anyone but myself. But as time went on, the affair didn't help me like I thought it would. The lines between revenge and self-destruction started to blur. I realized that even though the affair felt exciting at first, it didn't really make me feel better. I saw that trying to get revenge wasn't the best way to cope with my hurt. The affair, which used to numb my pain, turned into something that forced me to confront my own feelings. My husband's betrayal made me feel even more alone, like I wasn't worthy of love. His words made me feel like I was an afterthought. I was lost and confused, and I didn't know how to move on. I started to wonder if I would always feel this way, like an echo in my empty heart. Even the divorce felt like a distant dream, like a wish that had shattered because I was so sad. I had to face the harsh reality that the worst thing that could happen to me wasn't just because of my husband's actions. It was because I believed I didn't deserve happiness, closeness, or the love I had been craving for so long. Now, let's find out what happens when OP decides an affair is not the best thing for her. For a decade, my husband emotionally neglected me, and I made up all sorts of reasons to explain his distance. I told myself he was just busy with work and overwhelmed with life's responsibilities. But when I found out he was still in touch with his ex, all the excuses I had made for him crumbled to dust. The reality was much sadder and more complicated than I had ever imagined. When we finally confronted each other, I felt a roller coaster of emotions: sadness, anger, and even a strange sense of freedom. He said some harsh things, but he also apologized. His words revealed a lot about the affair that I hadn't known before. It was especially painful when he admitted that I was just a placeholder for him. someone to tide him over until he could be with his ex again. After everything that happened, I went on a surprising journey of self-discovery. It wasn't about getting back at him, but about finding myself again. I found comfort in the things I loved before, made new friends, and started to figure out who I really am. During this time, I realized that the pain from his betrayal was slowly starting to heal, not just because he was gone, but because I wished he was becoming stronger too. I realized that seeking revenge wasn't worth it. I didn't want to get caught up in a cycle of pain and anger. I decided to take a different path, one that would lead me to a better future. I started to focus on myself and my own happiness. I realized that I was worthy of love and respect, and I wasn't going to let anyone take that away from me. I came out of this experience a stronger person, ready to shape my own future. What would you have done in OP's shoes? Which ending was the best? Please tell me in the comments below. My wife of 3 years, with whom I have a 4-year-old son, recently fell victim to a phishing attempt. Basically, she got an email that looked like it was from a department of a bank we use, saying there was a strange transaction that she needed to confirm. After she clicked on it, she realized that our iPad was probably hacked. Luckily, while we are both not very tech-savvy, my brother is. So he came over and said that he'd try to clear our devices of any malware and tell us what exactly is going on. After my brother had left, I was alone and decided to start clicking on all of our money apps to make sure nothing nefarious was going on with our accounts. Luckily, there did not seem to be anything missing from our bank accounts. However, I saw that there was a Western Union app installed, and it was installed in a pretty discreet corner of the iPad, like in a square with a few other random apps. I always associated Western Union with international transactions, so at the moment I thought that my wife definitely wasn't doing any of that. So maybe this was some machination of a hacker that my brother didn't catch. I clicked on the app and everything was logged out. However, when I tried to type in both of our email addresses, the device keychain recognized my wife's email, and I got even more suspicious. I knew that most of her passwords were the same, so I got it right on the second try and I logged in. I was mind-boggled to see the transaction history that included several $1,000s, all of which happened before this whole hacking debacle. It showed that she was getting $2,000 at the beginning and the middle of the month, all from the same sender. I then went to the App Store and saw that under Cash App, it showed that the app had once been downloaded, but had probably recently been deleted. I re-downloaded it and logged in and saw very clearly that the person sending money to my wife was her ex-boyfriend, and she had sent back notes saying thank you and then his nickname. They dated from when she was 24 to when she was 28. He is 49 years old and they broke up because he got divorced young and did not want to marry again, and she realized he wasn't changing his mind. They never had any kids or properties together, nor was he cheating on somebody with her or keeping their relationship a secret. So it is honestly beyond me why he would need to have any more contact with her, especially now that he lives in Europe half of the time. I confronted my wife on this and I told her that I thought that he was out of her life entirely. Yet here she was, sending messages to him with stars in her eyes, basically massaging his ego. I did not know what was going on. My wife said that she's sorry, and she didn't mean to, but they just kept in contact and became friendly exes. She said, "You know his type. He can be very charming when he wants to be, and sometimes he says something funny or is depressed because of his line of business and wants to vent to somebody." She got upset when I told her I didn't accept that answer because no joke is worth that much money, especially when it's being paid consistently every month. She finally admitted that she had told him that the business I was starting was losing money and that I was only bringing home $45,000 a year after paying my employees, and that he told her the industry I was in, wholesale goods, was a tough one and too saturated with competition for me to turn a profit for a couple of years or have any reasonable hope of succeeding. I had started this business 2 years ago after I lost my job, and my wife's graphic design business was also dead in the water. She said she had started venting to him about how we're falling behind on our bills, and he decided to help her out. She even said that he would tell me the same if I asked him. That later turned out to be a lie, and it was soon clear that her ex in no way wanted to contact me in any shape or fashion. This all happened a week ago, and I told her that I would give up my business and try to get another job, starting at the bottom if I had to, for the consistent income. But I did not want her accepting any more money from this guy and trying to pass off part of it as money from her business, which doesn't even have a functioning website anymore, and then her keeping the rest of it Lord knows where. But the more that I am left alone to think, the more that I cannot imagine sleeping in the same bed with my wife anymore. I do not know if I can ever trust her again, because she will not say anything except that she did not sleep with him and that an ex would just give her money just to be his friend. In addition, I am getting the most dread-filled thoughts about the possibility that my son is not mine. That could explain everything very easily, and while I don't make the money her ex makes, we do have the same hair color and eye color. What do? My wife keeps pleading with me that she'll stop accepting money and that I needed to trust her again, but I know she will flip out at the thought of a paternity test. I am living in misery. I thought I had a loving marriage to an honest woman, even though we argued about the fact that she wanted our lifestyle to stay the same while I was building up my business. I thought we were communicating with each other. I also thought that the money she put in our accounts were from her graphic design business finally getting clients, but that was wrong as well. This first ending details what happens when OP decides to stay with his wife and work through some of their difficulties. We pick the story up where they're trying to move forward. The weeks turned into months, and each day was a battle between doubt and the hope I was holding on to. Staying wasn't an easy decision, and the uncertainty that clouded my mind felt like a never-ending storm. My wife's promises were like delicate threads, trying to mend what was broken. With the support of my friends, some skeptical and some hopeful, I decided to give us another chance. Rebuilding our relationship was a slow and deliberate process. We talked for hours on end, sometimes late into the night. We cried, we shared our deepest secrets, and we exposed our vulnerabilities to each other. Trust was a fragile flame, but it flickered to life in the midst of our shared pain. Amidst all the chaos, things got even crazier. My wife's ex-boyfriend showed up at our doorstep looking sheepish and determined. He dropped a bombshell. He'd been working undercover for an international agency, and the money he'd been funneling to my wife was part of a covert operation to track down a notorious money launderer who had ties to my business. This revelation turned our lives into a crazy spy adventure. We teamed up with my wife's ex-boyfriend, and we dove into a world of intrigue, secret codes, and encrypted messages. With his expertise and my determination, we infiltrated the money laundering network and unraveled its intricate web. As the truth came out, our broken relationship found an unexpected way to heal: the pursuit of justice. In a crazy turn of events, the thing that broke our trust ended up bringing us closer together. We found a new purpose together, and we worked together to redeem ourselves. Our story went from a tragedy to an unexpected tale of heroism and love. We went to therapy to help us navigate the stormy waters of our emotions. Slowly but surely, the jagged edges of our relationship smoothed out, and our communication became a lifeline that helped us through the labyrinth of hurt and betrayal. There were days when we doubted ourselves and moments when we were afraid. But even in the chaos, I could still see the woman I fell in love with, and she could see the man she once trusted without question. It wasn't easy. There were ups and downs, but over time, trust grew stronger. We learned to be vulnerable with each other and to be honest, even when it was hard. Our love story wasn't perfect, but it was real. We understood each other's flaws and strengths, and we loved each other anyway. Our son was our anchor. He reminded us why we were fighting, and he gave us hope for the future. We forgave each other, and we healed together. We rebuilt our lives, and our love story became a testament to our resilience and the power of second chances. In this version of the story's conclusion, OPE is fueled by an insatiable curiosity and embarks on a journey to uncover the truth. Let's pick up the story at this point. I had to know the truth, no matter what. Well, I finally worked up the guts to get one of those at-home DNA test kits. Had to be real sneaky swabbing my son's cheek when my wife was out running errands. She'd absolutely lose it if she knew I went behind her back. But I was a nervous wreck, not knowing the truth. All those paranoid thoughts kept swirling in my head about whether my son was really mine. I had to find out one way or the other. The 2 weeks waiting on those test results felt like an eternity. I was pacing all over the house, my mind racing with doubt and fear. Part of me wished I'd never done the test, because not knowing was easier than facing the possible bad news. But then the results came in, and wouldn't you know it? I'm definitely my son's biological dad. Soon as I saw that, this wave of relief washed over me. I let out the biggest sigh, knowing my wife had been truthful all along. I'm not saying we're all good now. I'm still upset she took money from her ex and lied about her work. We've got trust to rebuild. But knowing I'm my son's father helped me see this isn't some crazy double life my wife's living. So the storm clouds are starting to clear now. We've got counseling set up to work through our issues. The DNA results gave me hope that maybe we can fix this mess after all. I finally feel like I can breathe again, knowing my son is my own flesh and blood. What a relief. In this version of the story's conclusion, OP gets DNA testing results that are vastly different from the first. Let's see what happens. The envelope's contents hit me like a ton of bricks. I had a feeling this was coming, but it still felt like a punch to the gut. The test results said I wasn't the father. My world came crashing down. I felt like I was in freefall and I didn't know how to stop. The confrontation that followed was a mess. The air was thick with tension, and neither of us could say what we really wanted to say. My wife's explanations fell on deaf ears, and her pleas for understanding were met with silence. The ex-boyfriend who I had thought was irrelevant had become a central figure in our lives. He was like a ghost, haunting us and unraveling everything we had built together. Trust was gone. It was like a lifeline that had been severed. The love we had nurtured had turned into a tangled web of lies and betrayal. With every bit of trust that crumbled, we were faced with a difficult choice. The promises we had made, the future we had envisioned, were all in ruins. I found strength in the wreckage. The pain and anger drove me to rebuild, to reclaim my life. It wasn't easy, but I had a new resolve. The scars of betrayal became a reminder of my resilience, guiding me forward as I faced the unknown. After my illusions were shattered, I had to find a new way forward. I navigated the uncertainty, carving a new path for myself. It was a painful journey, but I was determined to forge a future for myself that wasn't burdened by deceit. With each step, I felt stronger and more in control of my own destiny. What would you have done in OP's shoes? Which ending was the best? Tell me in the comments below. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because you won't want to miss a single captivating story. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.